the black anime guy. Yeah, I'm here in Tennessee right now. I'm visiting some family, and it is really freaking cold out, and it's kind of beautiful too. Let me show you just what I'm looking at. See that? Very nice out here, huh? I thought, since I have the opportunity, and since I'm visiting my family, and I have the opportunity to come out here, see this beautiful nature, why not do a review outside, right? Oh, but it's still too cold. Anyway, today I'd like to try something new. As many of you already know, when I first started this, I was an anime reviewer, and then I started doing movies a lot, so I'm jumping back and forth. It's crazy, I know, but today I want to try something new this time. I'm going to call this new segment The Black Anime Guy Reads, and I'll be doing my first ever manga review on Negima. Now, Negima was created by a guy named Ken Akamatsu, who created the very famous Love Hina. For those of you who don't know that, that's for another review. And also AI Love You. Some of you may not have heard of that. I've just started recently reading it, and it's, it was his first work. It wasn't that great, but it's okay. I enjoy it. But anyway, let's get to this review. So basically, Negima is about a kid named Negi Springfield who is 10 years old, and he's a wizard, sort of. And he comes from Wales, all the way there in the United Kingdom. And he is sent to Japan as part of his training to become a master magician, basically. So he can go find his... Oh man, it's so cold. So he can go find his father, who was declared kind of dead. And he's the legendary 1,000 Master. He mastered like 1,000 spells. Anyway, so he goes to Japan, and he is now the teacher of 31 junior high school students, all of which are girls. He hides the fact that he's a magician from them until one of his students, named Asuna... Her name is like really hard. It's Asuna Kagurazaka. Correct me if I'm wrong out there, but that's how I see it. So anyway, Asuna Karusaga, her finds out that he's a wizard, and sooner or later, some of her other students start to figure this out, and craziness ensues. I really enjoyed this manga. I actually was introduced to it by my friend who was a big fan of it. I never really heard of it until like 2008. That's when I started reading it. And, it's really quite interesting. I like the whole ideal of it, It mixes action with harem mixed with romantic comedy. It's a perfect blend. I'm gonna just get into a few characters. First you got Negi, of course, who's this like 10-year-old kid, as I explained earlier. And he's like this hard, studious worker. He's trying to find like ways to become stronger so he can go find his dad. And you kind of root for this character. This is the guy that you're rooting for always to win. And then you got Asuna, who's pretty much that girl that if you do something to piss her off, she'll like smack the shit out of you. And oh man, there are some scenes where apparently when Negi sneezes, he can blow off articles of clothing. So when he sneezes, he's like, achoo! And then Asuna's skull just fly right off. Woo! And he just beats the shit out of that kid. And I'm like, wow. But deep down, she's a really caring individual, and she has a crush on her past teacher, Mr. Takahata, who is not really mentioned a lot until you get into like the manga. My favorite character in the whole thing is Nodoka Miyazaki, who's this shy, keeps to herself and doesn't really like boys kind of girl. And when she meets Negi, she's all like, oh, it's a guy teacher, what do I do? And she kind of develops feelings for Negi, basically, and it goes on from there. What else characters can I talk about? There's Konoka, who's Asuna's best friend, kind of. They both live in the same dorm, basically, and she's very caring, very gentle. kind of that girl that you would love to meet outside. You know, the typical girl next door. She's nice. She's cute. She's, you know. And then there's Setsuna, who's like this warrior girl. She's hardcore. She has a thing for Konoka, which is kind of weird, but it makes sense because they've been friends since the past and they just get along together. And there's a sort of one-sided love relation in that thing, I think. So that's a few. Oh, and also there's this character. Her name escapes me, but oh, Ayaka, that's her name. Ayaka. She's like this. She has long blonde hair, and she's the class representative of 3A. This is the class that Negi hosts, and she has this almost instant love of Negi. Right when he comes through the door, she's like instantly in love with him. I don't know how it happened. And she always fights with Asuna, kind of like who has, you know, it's always a rivalry between those two. So some pros of this, I really enjoyed the manga. The manga was really good, and the art style is really good. I like the characters, really, really likable characters. You just root for them. The story arcs in this are really good too, and I really enjoyed reading them. And what else pros can I think of? Oh, the action, romance, and comedy mixed together. It was a perfect blend. I mean, there are some episodes where it focuses on romance. There's some that focuses on violence. Some focus on humor, and they all blend together to make this perfect manga, Negima. Alright, I dipped into some of the pros, now I gotta give you some of my cons. As many of you already know, Negima has become, my bad, an anime series, and the anime series, the first one, in particular, was terrible. It was terrible for two reasons. The art, or the animation I mean, and the last two episodes. Really, the last two episodes... Sorry, I'm just really cold out here. But the last two episodes really veered off where the manga isn't, like, created like a filler ending, which I hate in most animes. Can't stand filler endings. But it went into like this filler ending. I was like, what the hell is this crap? I won't tell you what it is, because it ain't even worth talking about. And the animation in it, first of all, they get some of the characters wrong. Like, Asuna has different color eyes. One's green and one's blue. That made no sense. There's a character named Kisame whose hair is green, but in the manga, it's described as her hair is pink. So, you know. And then they did another one where her hair was brown. I didn't have no problem with that. I thought she actually looked good in brown hair. Green hair? Not so much. Anywho. What else did I put as cons to this thing? Oh, well, yes, in some instances, the story in Negima are pretty cliche. You know, this kid training to be the best ever to go find his lost dad. It's mixed of Naruto and Fairy Tail. Because in Naruto's trying to become the best ninja there is. And in Fairy Tail, damn, his name escapes me, but he's trying to find his father, so it kind of felt like it was a mix together, and it became this, right? Anywho, yeah, I felt like the story in itself was kind of cliche. Though Negi is a great character, I felt like he was too young. Like, I root for this guy, but he's too young. I would rather he be like maybe 14 or 15 years old. That'd make a little sense. A 10-year-old, you know, I don't know. Because then again, if you look at it, it's just like jumping into Azumanga Daioh, where you have a 10-year-old Chio who goes into high school and becomes a high school student, which is kind of weird too. But him becoming a teacher, really big jump, I mean, for that age. There are a lot of characters in this show. There are so many characters that I can't really name all of them in front of you. I can only name a few. That's why when I did my character things, I only named a few. But there are so many characters that I feel like that's one of its cons, that there's so many you just don't really feel all of them. You feel some of them, and then you forget about the others. But most of the characters have really cool storylines and are really interesting. But if they're given more time, I'm sure they could develop into great characters. But they're not given a lot of time. Waiting. Why did I write waiting? Is because this is one of those series that expand and expand and expand where there's no ending in sight. Like Naruto, Bleach, and Berserk, they just keep going and adding more and more and more. It just doesn't end. And that's not really a con, it just really irritates me. And I have to mention the fan service in this series. I mean, I honestly could have saw it coming because this is Ken Akamatsu. He made Love Hina. You kind of see it coming, but it's a bit too much. Overall, though, I would say this manga, the manga is a very entertaining read. I give it a 4 out of 5. It's worth reading, not worth watching. I might develop a different rating system for books or anime so that it doesn't mix with my movie review. But I just felt like I haven't done a good anime or manga review in a while, so I just thought I'd do this one. Well, anyway, it is freaking cold out here, so I want to end this right now. And this is the Black Anime Guy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later. Take care, YouTube. めちゃめちゃばかりの時